Well, we have Dr. John Hovanessian here, who's going to tell us about a new product called Upneek. And we've got this little bag here that's going to kind of tell us all about what it is.
That's right.
So what is Upneek?
You know, there's Lisa, 3 stages of life. There's you're young, and then you're middle age, and then you look good, is what people say,
For
right?
your age. Right?
So this is, you know, somewhere for that 2nd to 3rd stage of life.
Okay.
This is relatively new. It's been out for a little over a year. An eye drop that is prescribed by doctors that helps lift the eyelids so that we, you know, in the same way that surgery can do. Of course, the eye drop works temporarily. It's not permanent, but for a number of hours after it's put in the eye, it gives about 1 millimeter or so, which is a meaningful amount of lift to the eyelids. And there's a lot of interesting and useful places for this besides just the desire to have beauty. And here's some examples on screen of what it can do, some before and after.
So I'm sorry to interrupt you. So if you look on the left-hand side, the gal on the top, she looks like she's got super red eyes. You know, and then on the right, it's white. I mean, is that basically kind of what it's supposed to do as well?
There might be a little bit of difference in color, and it will constrict blood vessels a little bit. The active ingredient is called oxymetazoline, and this is a well-known medication that is actually part of Afrin nasal spray. For those who use that to clear up their nose, it's the same active ingredient. And that works, of course, as a vasoconstrictor. It's what we call a sympathomimetic, which means that it stimulates locally the sympathetic nervous system, which tightens blood vessels, which would make the eyes look a little bit wider. And so it's interesting that you notice that. And also, it stimulates what's called Mueller's muscle.
So is it lifting this part of the eye or this part of the eye?
So there's, in the upper part of your eyelid, there's kind of a firm, fibrous tissue there that it feels a little bit like cartilage if you sort of play with it, and it's not actually cartilage. But attached to the top of that is a muscle, and I think we have an anatomic diagram that shows it, that's called Mueller's muscle, and most of us don't know we have this muscle, but when it's stimulated, Mueller's muscle, which here is shown in red, the label for it there is circled in red too, Mueller's muscle lifts the eyelid. What you see below there with the blue sort of squiggly line going through it, that's the tarsus, the tarsal plate. That's that sort of, it feels like cartilage layer of the eyelid. And it lifts that about 1 millimeter or 1.5 millimeters when Mueller's muscle is stimulated. And that's exactly how oxymetazoline, that's exactly how this medication called Upneek works. Upneek is like a combination of uplifting and unique. Upneek.
Oh, well, that's smart. That's a great way. Now, so if you were to have your eyes done, let's just say the upper eyes, is that just taking skin, or is it also taking a little bit of the muscle?
Great question. So there are different ways that surgery can be done. The skin can be just removed alone, and for people who have an extra fold of skin but their eyelids are in a normal position, that's all we need to do is just take a little bit of extra skin there. For people whose eyelids are actually heavy, where it's covering part of the eye and getting down close to the pupil where it affects vision, we actually have to lift the eyelids. So one of the common procedures we do is called a Muellerectomy, where we actually remove some of Mueller's muscle and lift the eyelid. And there's other procedures as well that do similar things to advance or strengthen the muscles that lift the eyelid.
Well, right. I have seen some people who do have a very heavy, and it really prevents them from being able to see correctly.
That's absolutely right. We think about it as just a beauty procedure, but in fact, when eyelids become heavy, they can affect vision, and there are cases where insurance or Medicare will actually cover the procedure. It's not super common, but practices that do a lot of this, including ours, are fairly good at getting coverage when it's appropriate. And this is also the reason that if you're thinking about having eyelid surgery, it's worthwhile seeing an oculoplastic surgeon. That means not just a plastic surgeon, but one who's trained in ophthalmology, because getting the eyelids right is not easy. And there is more than one procedure, as I just mentioned, to do it. So using the right procedure, having the right judgment, not just making it part of a big practice where you do a lot of other things, really benefits patients with, giving them expertise. I don't do eyelid procedures. I've got two great surgeons,
Yeah.
John Noguchi and Jeff Jacobs, in our practice. John Noguchi's brand new to us, but he's not brand new to eye care. He's a seasoned oculoplastic surgeon.
Wonderful.
Both of them are trained in ophthalmology and in plastic surgery, so that they have the know-how to do it. And there are other great oculoplastic surgeons in the area as well.
So let's say, somebody wanted to know more about Upneek. Maybe they
Yeah.
were thinking about doing the surgery, but
Yeah.
said, you know what, maybe I'll try this first.
Yeah.
So they would make an appointment. Would they make an appointment with those particular doctors, or would it be any of them?
They could. Actually, any of the doctors in our practice, including optometrists, if you haven't had a good eye exam, a good comprehensive eye exam, you certainly could go to Jeff Jacobs or John Noguchi or other doctors in our practice. And particularly if you have an interest in surgery, they'd be appropriate to choose. But we have wonderful optometrists as well who can guide patients through Upneek, as well as do a comprehensive eye exam, check for glasses or contact lenses. And of course, any of the doctors in the community, we work with a network of hundreds of optometrists who work in the community who provide really good quality care, and they can also prescribe Upneek. So it's not something that the practice sells, it's something you get through a pharmacy. The doctor just prescribes it like any other drug.
Okay, but they could come and try it.
Yes.
If they had an exam with you guys and
Yeah.
they expressed interest.
There are, yes, it's subject to the availability of supplies, because we don't always get samples of everything. You're special, so I brought you one today, and we should talk about that. So
Yes, so as a matter of fact, I did put this in my left eye, so we're gonna see how that looks. And as of right now, I mean, I don't know if you can tell, here's a before of what my eyes looked like before.
Yeah.
And so now I'll go ahead and look at the camera.
It's
we'll
pretty
see.
subtle, but I see your left eye. Point to your left eye so the audience is clear on what we mean by your left eye. It's her left, not on our left. So that eye, now we don't expect this medication to work in this short a time, so we're giving it a little bit of an unfair test. In a few patients, it will work as early as 5 minutes. It's probably been 15 minutes since you put it in. Typically, it takes a few hours, so I won't be at all disappointed or surprised if it doesn't seem to be doing anything for your eyes right now. But I do think I see a little improvement, or a little, increase in the size.
Yeah, well,
your eyes looked nice before, but
Oh, well,
a little
thank
more
you.
open.
I was actually wondering about, them lifting as well as, looking maybe more well rested, which is kind of nice to have, because
That's
when
right.
you have wider eyes and your eyes are bigger, you look definitely more well rested.
You just look better. That's right.
You just look good.
You don't look tired. And, if there's one thing we want to try not to look, is the way we feel sometimes. We feel
Isn't
tired.
that the truth? That's the truth. Well, perfect. Well, I appreciate all the information about Upneek, and of course, if anyone has any questions about any of your services, they can always go to harvardeye.com, or the phone number that's on the screen, right?
Thanks. It's a pleasure to be here, and always a pleasure to share something new with your viewers. So thanks for
Love it.
Thanks for including me today.
All right. Thank you very much for the information. And of course, if you want more information about Upneek or any of the services that Harvard Eye has, you can always go to their website at harvardeye.com. We'll be right back.